Welcome back to the By Design Podcast. I'm your host, Ronnie Knuckles, and today we have the group coming back to talk about interesting topics. Last time we talked about astronaut Katy Perry and aliens and the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and those are the three main topics. You did not hear me wrong. Today we are going to talk about kind of who knows what. I know that the first topic that I wanted to bring up was the death of Pope Francis. So that is kind of like the latest breaking news. There's some other interesting things that came up the last couple days here. But I think as Christians, we're not Catholic, okay, but as Christians, the death of Pope Francis definitely affects some people that also believe in Christ. And so talking about that to me is super interesting. And I did come across an interesting Pope conspiracy theory, and I'm always down for a good conspiracy theory. So anyway, I thought we would just kind of get started going into that. And Riot does have an awesome quote that he wants to share with us and debate. So we're going to get into
quote that he just said before.
No, it's not the. It's
okay,
not the,
I was going to say, please don't say that.
Yeah,
no, y'all say that,
but it's not wrong.
He's right. Sure. That was a good. I mean, that was a good quote. I wanted to start off by reading you guys this. Okay, so it was an Instagram reel that initially I had seen. It's another podcast. What's their name? Right? Do you know those two guys?
I don't know those guys' names. I see them pop up
they're
on
like
my feed.
Christian.
Guys got cool hair.
They're like a Christian podcast, but they just have interesting Bible facts and kind of conspiratorial stuff. But there was this document that was found in the Vatican. So it's in like the Vatican library or whatever. And one of the popes had predicted, like 422 years ago, had predicted every pope up until Pope Francis, right? And then after Pope Francis, it essentially just says Judgment Day. So he's predicting, so he has descriptions of each pope, and every pope he had predicted accurately. And at the very end, after Pope Francis dies, it just says Judgment Day. And in the Vatican, there is for each pope, there's like, they have a picture of them.
Yeah.
And then the last one is missing. And essentially this guy said, when that last one is filled, that is when, the end of the earth will happen. And, 2012, what was it? We've had the end of the earth was going to happen a few times.
In 1999.
Yeah. So the next one will be 2027. The earth is going to end in 2027.
Is that what they're saying?
Yeah, that's the next one.
Interesting.
All right. So everybody
Did they have the popes by name, start date, all that?
Descriptions.
Okay.
Descriptions of each. So where they were from. It was
white.
Yeah. It was pretty accurate.
Much.
It was pretty accurate descriptions of them. So
white male.
Let me read. Yeah,
white male.
Old white male
white
from
male.
Italy. Yeah. Let me read this to you though. The idea of the last pope is often tied to prophecies, particularly the prophecy of the popes attributed to Saint Malachy. What an unfortunate name.
Proud of you.
Which suggests a series of Latin phrases describing future popes. Some interpret this prophecy to mean that the current pontiff, Pope Francis, is the last pope. Is the last pope. Sorry, I hit puberty there. Is the last pope with the end of the world following his reign. All right, the prophecy of the popes. This alleged prophecy was first published in 1595 and details cryptic Latin phrases reportedly describing future popes. While attributed to Saint Malachy, historians believe...
Are you sure it's not Malachi?
Let me see it.
It doesn't seem like Malachi. I think Malachi is spelled with an I at the end. This is a Y.
That's not Malachi.
It's not Malachi. It's not the biblical Malachi. Malachi was dead way before 1595.
So it's CHY?
Well,
CHY.
other people are named Malachi.
Malachi.
It's just a name.
Nah, this is Malachi.
Well, there's different rules for how you say a letter after it comes out of certain... Like I before E except after C.
Mr. English Major T over there. How'd you get that wrong?
In the English language, it gets real weird.
It could be Malachi.
Beria.
Could be Malachi. Could be Malachi because he's Italian. They're in the Vatican.
Malachi.
Or wherever they're at.
Gabagool.
Also, it's Beria.
What?
Like tacos?
He's trying to say Bria tacos or Beria.
It's not
Tacos.
Beria. It ain't
Who's saying
Beria.
that? Who's saying that?
No,
Everyone.
Hey,
You say it like that?
Tim's right.
Beria?
What do you got? The
Tim's
taco
right.
streets on
Like
tap
it's
or
Beria.
something?
He also says Louisville is Louisville.
I just try to say the
You
words
say
the right way.
You say
man.
Louisville?
Yeah.
And he gets all offended when people say it right.
Wait.
No, it's fine. You say it
How
how
do
you
you
want,
say it?
but don't come
I'm
at
gonna
me.
say I'm gonna say Bria.
How are you
I want
from
to.
here and you say it that way?
How do you say it?
Louisville.
You're
I'm
about
not
to
even
piss
from
me
here
off.
and I say it right.
It's
Louisville.
it's named after King Louis.
Louisville.
Yeah, I swear. I
That's
just want to
fine.
smack him
No,
every
that's
time he
fine.
says it because
You know
he
what?
thinks he's so high and mighty when he
No,
says
I
it that
don't.
way.
Shit,
Louis
it's
up
cool.
in Indiana,
That's
buddy.
cool. I just prefer to say it that way.
King
Yeah.
Louis.
You prefer to say it wrong, okay?
All
Just
right.
remember that the next time you say it.
That's fine. So
just
was
think
his
about
was
this.
his to Riot's
When he realized that
to
this isn't
Riot's
cool
comment,
anymore, he's
was
going to
it-
start saying it right.
was it King Lul?
Yes.
Huh?
Was it King Lul?
Look, man,
To
we
his
ain't French. Do I look French?
Yes.
Nah.
Oh, okay.
Nah, son.
That's just
Riot
it's
might be
Louis.
French.
It's
I
just
am
Louis.
French,
It's
actually.
easy.
Terrio. It's
It's
very
the
French.
auburn hair it gave you away.
It's easy.
Chestnut.
You
hair.
just say Louis.
Ginger hair.
Tim,
You
we're
just
done.
gotta say
We're done
Louis.
here.
It's
You're
fine.
wrong. You're
Same
wrong.
It's fine.
Color as your shirt.
You say it how you want and sound ignorant.
You know
all
what?
you
They
want.
call St. Louis
Burnt
St.
orange.
Louis, but it's actually
Just trying to get back
St.
at
Louis.
you for the last
No,
one.
it's not.
Yeah, it is. It was named
Are
after
you-
the
are you
same
hearing me
guy
good?
that
I
Louisville
can't
was
hear
named
Wrong.
after.
Wrong.
I can hear you.
Same
Okay.
same guy.
Wrong.
hear really good.
I violently
Unfortunately.
disagree.
Well, I don't care what you disagree with. The facts are the facts.
Are you guys done?
What?
Are you guys done?
Yeah, we are now. All right. Anyway, doomsday theories. The prophecy, along with other historical events and predictions, has fueled doomsday theories online, with some suggesting that the last pope will flee Rome or that the world's end is near. The recent passing of Pope Francis in 2025, yesterday, right, has sparked internet memes and humor, including the last pope conspiracy coming back.
So do you believe it?
No.
Okay.
It is interesting nonetheless, though.
I think
It
it
is
was
super interesting.
It was JD Vance.
Yeah, it was.
Well,
He's got the reverse Midas touch.
was JD Vance.
that was an interesting
Hey,
thing.
my man looked dead in that meeting, though. Like he didn't know.
That's how
where I
you
was.
look in meetings.
I haven't seen the meeting yet.
It's not nice.
That wasn't
Take
nice.
it back. Take it back.
He didn't mean that.
Hey, I mean, he was what, 80 something, 90 something?
I don't even know.
88,
I thought he was upper 80s.
88, I think.
Yeah, I think.
I just think that we talked
106.
about it, and I think it was
204.
What did we talk
Something
about
like
this?
that.
Like the end of the world might be. I think we're kind of setting the stage for all that, and then this conspiracy theory kind of lines up with that.
Maybe I'm
It's
wrong.
interesting.
Does
It
the
was our
Bible
last
say
group
that we can
episode.
predict
Was it?
when it's going to end?
Huh?
We
No.
can't. Okay, that's what
Well,
I'm saying.
even the
No,
Bible
there's just-
says
there's
that's
signs.
Actually, it specifically
So-
says it will come when we least expect
So
it.
why
Yeah.
did
Right.
people
Yeah.
think that? Oh, it's 2012, it's 2027, it's
because
1999.
you can make money off that.
Yeah.
I ain't
Just
made no money
trying to-
off of
They're
it.
just trying to scare
Well, then you
some
ain't
people.
smart
Go ahead.
enough.
Give us a
Okay.
date, Dakota.
It's gonna end April
'cause you ain't-
2nd, 2030. Now give me some bread.
All right.
Sell some T-shirts.
Yeah,
Yeah, something.
the end is coming.
Remember, like people were doing all kinds of crazy stuff in 2012.
12.
just like in
Oh,
the year
Y2K?
2000,
Yeah.
Y2K.
Yeah.
People were going nuts. over
Yeah, I was
that.
going
Yeah.
crazy.
I was 5.
Bro, the church I went to,
was
we
4.
prayed. We were at church and prayed into the new year, like as a church, and all these people were crying. They thought the electricity was going to shut off. It was
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah, we camped out at the church.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah,
sure
we
I
did too.
asked my dad about
It's like
that,
a
and he,
24-hour lock-in.
You guys were ready.
My dad went to bed at like 9 p.m. that night.
Oh, my parents had like in a little like cellar. We had like food, water, like.
Oh, yeah.
What they
dude.
think was
all
going to
this stuff.
happen though?
I think they thought like all like the grid was going to go down or something. I don't know, dude. Like clocks were going
Do
to.
you think
stop
that'll happen
working
again
and-
when it goes to the year 3000?
Probably.
No, they just hadn't like programmed their
If
computers.
we make
to
it.
get
I don't
we're
think
not, we're not
making
getting
it.
If we
past
make it
27.
30,000,
No. 2027's the end.
Yeah,
I
we
don't
ain't
know what
getting
we're
past
talking about.
27,
That's
dude. We're
2030,
done.
April 2nd.
I don't know. The Jonas Brothers have a song about the year 3000. So
Do
Maybe
they?
they're from there.
yeah, they do.
yeah, you remember that?
It was
I
a
went
hit.
to the year 3000.
What if of all the
That's
conspiracy theories, the Jonas Brothers got it right? You know what I mean?
Something about
They
living
knew.
underwater.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Oh
Yeah, it's
my
gonna be a
God.
wild time according to old Joe Jonas.
The prophecy, Joe Jonas.
So anyway, what was your quote, right? I'm interested to hear. Sorry, I know
So it's
we're
not
just
as
gonna make
funny.
a quick transition. We can float around
I
with
feel
the
like it's
Pope
gonna
all
be
day.
a harder transition because we've been all jokey around, but
Oh, this is a serious quote.
not. It's a pondering quote.
Should we have a moment of silence
Who-
before you read it?
Whose quote is it?
So I'm a bad I'm a bad guy, I
Excuse
guess,
me.
because I don't know the guy's actual name, but
Wow.
it's a musical act called Hotel
Oklahoma?
called Hotel Books,
Oh,
and it's
lame.
a guy that kind of does like spoken word poetry over kind of like an alternative like emo music or anything something like that.
Emo music.
Right up
But-
your alley.
But in one of the songs, he said, "Don't let the record of what you do be more important than what you do."
Huh?
So don't let the record of what you do be more important than what you do.
So
So what does that mean to you?
Don't let the record of what.
it seems like this is one of those
it's
psychological
saying,
things
like-
where you're holding up stuff and you're asking me, "What is it? What
Yeah.
do I see?" You know, it's kind of like
Elephant.
it's a butterfly. Yeah.
No, I mean to me it's interesting because I think we're so often concerned, and I'm not saying that perception isn't important, but we're so often concerned about what we're supposed to be doing and like what credit do we get?
Yeah.
And so I think it kind of like talks about like make sure you're being good and doing good things even when no one is watching.
It speaks
so
to
what's
true
more important?
integrity.
Like what are you actually doing? Like your what's your actual character versus your percepted personality?
Yeah.
I can
That's what,
see that.
that's what it sounds like to me because
Interesting.
I can see us getting caught up in that too because it's like one of the ways that we can make ourselves look good is by doing a little and extrapolating that little thing out to seem like we did a lot to get the accolades for that thing, rather than actually having a lot of impact without the expectation of getting something back for it.
I kind of take it as don't do it just for the credit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Don't do something good or do it just because you know it'll look good on your resume. It's like, just do it for the goodness of your heart.
I think some of the biggest things that happen are never said.
Yeah.
Some of the biggest things that people do for other people are never headlines. They're never talked about.
They shouldn't be.
They shouldn't be.
They're not
No, I think the
held
Bible. I
over
think that's
someone's head.
biblical. I think the Bible talks about that specifically. We could probably look up the verses where it talks about don't give with the expectation of or for gain. Essentially, don't give for gain is essentially the essence of the verse. I'm going to look it up because I've said this on a few episodes.
It's something
and then I just
along
don't
the
back it
lines
up.
of when you pray, something like this. But yeah, look it up. But it's like when you pray, go into your secret place and pray to your Father in secret, and give in secret, and your Father who is in secret will bless you. Something like that.
Yeah, because God, I mean,
I
even
give
if
you
nobody
what
sees
I'm
it,
saying.
God
Yeah.
knows your heart. God's seeing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving may be in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you. That's Matthew 6:1-4.
You're
pretty on the money
you're
there.
Pretty much, yep.
yeah.
Right on it.
Hey,
Good.
great
You should
job,
enter a
Tim.
competition.
I think that's interesting though, man. But I see people, business owners. So we service business owners through Spearcrest Digital, right? And one of the ways I've even coached business owners on this, I'm like, hey, if you want to get community engagement and get your community to trust you, one of the ways you do that is you find a nonprofit and you give back to that nonprofit, right? And then that nonprofit will help spread the message like, hey, this is a trustworthy business. Excuse me. They're actually giving back to the community in a real way. But you're teetering on that line, right? Because then it's like, well, are you giving back to this nonprofit so that people will work with you and you'll get more business out of it? Or are you actually giving back to this nonprofit because you care?
Just out of the goodness of your heart.
Out of God giving your business an abundance and then you returning that abundance to the kingdom. Is that what you're doing? Or are you like, hey, I'm going to throw you 10% this month so that you'll pump me out and then I can use it like, hey, we give back to a local charity. We've done that. Okay, first of all, we're guilty of that, so I'm not like judging business owners. But I think the real impact comes whenever you just, you have an abundance and you want to give back. And I say kingdom, but let's just say you don't believe and you want to give back to a local charity because you can be a good person and take care of other people. I think if you do that quietly and you do it with better intent, the impact is going to be tenfold what it would be if you're just doing it for gain.
Is there also something to be said for setting an example, though? Like doing something like that, and then it is viewed and like setting an example of how we should be.
That's what I'm saying. It's this
could it
weird
spread
thing.
that way to where
Right.
there's more giving and things like
Correct.
that.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. It's like this weird kind of, what do you do? I think that if the norm is you give quietly with the intent of having an impact, and you can run a campaign to spread awareness about this particular nonprofit so that they get more, I think, and you can say, hey, we're giving them 10%, give to them. Not, we're giving them 10% this month, use us so that we can give them your 10%. I think that the analogy is kind of
You see those,
twisted there.
Those
You know
YouTube
what I mean?
people too that'll do like videos where they're giving away stuff. People are like, you shouldn't have to document this, and I'm like, what's it matter? Because in the day, you're still doing a good.
No, I think
deed.
there's some cool stuff about that.
What's it matter if it's documented or not? You're still doing a good.
So it probably
thing.
comes back to a heart issue, like you said, like what is your actual intent?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, and then before you do any of that stuff, you can ask yourself, if I don't get anything from this,
No clout.
would I still do it?
And when we say anything,
You
we
can
don't necessarily
kinda test
mean
yourself
right.
and
we
check
don't mean
yourself.
monetary back. We mean like you having people praising you for giving back to people.
Yeah.
You having something to boast about.
Yeah.
That is where the danger lies.
Well, I was talking about monetary stuff. Like you're still blessing someone in a sense. And why does that why do people be like, oh, it's not genuine if you record it?
I think that it depends on the heart of the person.
I mean,
but
at the
I
end of
also
the day,
think the
if you-
Bible
if
says,
you
"Don't
do
let
a
your left
video
hand see what your right hand is
If you
doing."
do a video and you give someone that's struggling $10,000 and it changes their life or helps their family, like, what's it matter if it's recorded or not?
But I think the question then needs to become, are you doing that because you actually care about those people? Or are you doing it because you want people to say that you're a good guy because you gave them $10,000?
I see what you're saying. The person's still
I see what
benefiting
you're saying.
regardless.
But at the end of the day, what does it really matter if you help someone else?
Because the Bible says don't do that.
That's one of those things where it's something in the Bible that we may not understand or it's uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable, but I understand it very clear.
Yeah.
It says do not do that.
Yep.
Because it builds up your own ego. Because all you're doing is feeding your ego. You know what I'm saying?
I still think
I
it's a
still
good
understand
deed.
what you're saying.
Yeah,
I
don't know.
understand what
think
you mean.
I think it's one of those things where it's just like
I think it's one of
seems
those.
pretty black and white. I mean,
So
if you,
Dakota is saying, do record it,
I'm just saying,
He's
I
saying
don't
it
think it
doesn't matter
matters.
if you
and
do.
you're saying no.
People are like, oh, this
Okay.
this moment
I'm
isn't
not saying
genuine
not
because it's
to.
recorded, but it's like it doesn't matter. Even if I'm getting paid, my video is making me money, but I'm giving you money. We're all making money in the cycle here, and it's helping you out. It's helping me out. What's the bad?
That's one of the things. Like, so from the
I
world,
think it's a heart thing.
from the world perspective, also, like, yes, we're like, that makes total sense. It should be fine either way. And then, but that may be contradicting something that
I just
the
can't
Bible has
imagine where, like,
instructed.
if you
That's
just
where
go
it's
give
tough.
10,000 to a family that needs it, you're not in the right heart space or right mind space to do that.
I think if it's feeding your ego, you're in the wrong heart space. I think it's just that plain and simple.
Or if you would have only done that for
yeah.
the content.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think. First of all, I don't necessarily disagree with you.
Content or not. I mean, the family got blessed.
Right, and I'm not disputing
Yeah,
that.
it's not taken away from the blessing,
Right.
but
Right.
is it taking you away from? Is it taking your heart and saying, "Well, I'm a good guy. I'm in control. You're taking away from God." I think is the point in the passage. I'm not saying you're wrong. I think it comes down to the heart, right? I don't think it's wrong necessarily to record that. I think it's how you are.
It's your intention behind
so
it,
let me give
but-
you an example. Mr. Beast, everybody knows Mr. Beast, right? Mr. Beast is super famous for just giving millions of dollars away to people.
Right.
But what Mr. Beast does is he gets all this clout and all this money, right, from giving stuff away.
Right.
But then his chocolate brand is they're pulling people out of poverty in Africa. So and he will openly say this stuff, like his heart is in the right place. He doesn't care about the clout.
He doesn't care
and
about
he's
the money or
never
the clout.
cared about it.
Right.
He got his first $40,000, and I don't even think he's a Christian. But I'm using him to prove this point. He got a $40,000 sponsorship and gave that whole $40,000. It was his first $40,000 he ever made off YouTube. Gave it all away, and now he's continuing to do that. He's a $1 billion YouTuber, and he's going against Hershey and all these big chocolate manufacturers to take people out of slavery, essentially, and give them working wages to make really high quality chocolate. And by the way, if you haven't had one of his chocolate bars, the boys are fire.
Never had one.
Dude, they're so good.
never had
But so my point is, his heart is in the right place, right?
Right.
I don't think he's necessarily like, we're doing this for clout. He's doing it because he has the means to do it, and he's blessing other people, and he's using those blessings to bless more people.
I feel like
long-term.
that's like maybe benefit of the doubt, but I feel like that's how majority of those situations go.
I don't know. I've seen some people on Instagram, and they're just like, we're gonna give this homeless guy a bath and give him $5,000. And it's a weird. It's like you can sense the
I've
weird
seen that.
vibe.
It feels a little bit different.
It feels different.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm going to drive this Lambo to a Lakers game and I'm going to give it to the security guard at the fence because you know what I'm saying? Like it's just a weird.
It feels
Fake.
exploitive.
It does. And also, you're going to give this homeless guy $5,000. What's he going to do with that $5,000? Like you're not focusing on the person and making sure that person can even handle $5,000. You're going to give him a bath and give him a shave so that it looks cool on video, and then give him $5,000. I don't know, man. I think you can tell, you can sense it.
Yeah.
But my whole point in this is just saying, be careful of that, because I have felt weird about when we gave back to nonprofits and said, hey, this month, the month of April, we're going to give 10% of all proceeds back to this nonprofit. And it sounds pretty when you say it, but it just feels weird because it's almost like you're asking people to work with you and give you their business and trust that you're going to give the 10% back, rather than saying, hey, we're going to give 10% this month back to this nonprofit. We encourage you to give to them too, and here's why. It's a different vibe, right? It's just I don't know.
And people don't trust that a lot either. Like I read about, how Taco Bell, every time you go to Taco Bell, they're like, do you want to round up for
Yeah, they're trying
the
to save
school
on
kids
taxes
or something like that?
Yeah.
It's, whatever that organization is that they're giving back to that has to do with like school and kids and stuff. It's 1%.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's
that they
what
get
the
back.
Ronald
1%.
McDonald House does too.
Yep. And it's all about saving taxes too, because they can write all that off and it helps them save. And it's always early. It's usually right after tax season is over. They do it for the following year. Anyway. So I know we got off on a rabbit hole. So I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm
No,
just saying I
I
think it's a heart thing. I
Yeah.
think it's a matter of where's your heart at when you're doing that, and that's what the Bible's warning against. Because it's like your ego's a real problem, and I think your ego can keep you from God. Outside, there's two things I think that keep you from God the most. I think money keeps you from God, can keep you from God if you look at it as an idol, and I think your ego can. And so I think the Bible specifically is warning about that here. So, getting a call there, bud.
Yeah,
But back to the quote. Don't let the record of what you do. What was it?
Affect what you
do.
Be more important than what you do.
Be more important.
Hold on, say that again. Read it again.
Don't let the record of what you do be more important than what you do.
Okay.
Yeah. So
the level of importance you're placing on
Yeah.
the action.
my initial thought was, I guess maybe in my head I changed the word a little bit. I was thinking, don't let the record of the past affect what you do moving forward.
I think it could
Like
go that way too.
You can
regardless,
perceive it however you want.
like if you've done evil all up until this point and you've just been a real dirtbag.
That's interesting.
Do something else.
And that could be exactly
Just
what
because the record
too.
is what it is doesn't mean it has to be that.
Doesn't mean you
Moving
can't change.
forward.
I kind of took it as don't be a fraud either. Like when you're gone, don't let people say you did X, Y, and Z when you didn't. You know what I'm saying? Making sure people know who you truly were.
Yeah, and like that you actually did
Because
stuff.
everybody wants to leave like a legacy and an impact and stuff like that, but don't let it be skewed and don't let it be not real.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So Tim saw a hummingbird, I saw a butterfly. What do we do here?
Yeah, I like that. Like some people do put a huge importance on
I
the
feel
legacy
like
they're building.
that's
they're
what
not
happens a lot with us.
present with their family,
Yeah.
or they're
You're too worried about what people are going to say after you're gone. It's like, well, to be honest, a lot of
what are
people
you
aren't
doing
going
in
to
the
say
moment?
much.
But did you actually change lives?
Yeah.
Like that's what matters. Yeah. Yeah.
And at
there's
some point, if you're so worried about your legacy, it's going to become so. And if you do make a big legacy, you're going to hear things that you don't want to be, that are being told about you. And it's like, well, now this isn't even what I wanted.
To me, it's like, what's your legacy though? Best case scenario, they name a gym after you. You know, in 100 years, nobody's going to remember you.
Yeah.
Even if you're a president of the United States, people are barely going to remember who you were.
The only impact I care about is leaving like what my family,
Generational impact.
That's what should be the legacy. is the-
Exactly.
what my family says about
exactly.
me,
And that's quiet impact.
you know, my grandkids and stuff like that. That's the only opinions I'll ever care about.
Well,
is
you
my
look at-
families.
And what do you want them to say?
And here's the thing. They're not going to remember you. But is what you did going to span across generations? So let me give you an example. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say it just goes from, you know, if my great grandparent or great grandkids, I never meet them, but I left an impact on my kids
Yep.
and my grandparents. They'll tell stories about me
Yep.
in a way that'll predict. Just like my grandpa, I never met my grandpa. He died when I was 2. I mean, I met him, but I don't remember anything. But I hear great things about him, and we were best friends while he was here. But I don't remember it. But so in my head, I pictured him as this great grandpa because of the legacy he left with the family members that can describe him.
Yeah.
So I think you have 2 generations of remembrance, right? You got your kids, your great grandkids, maybe a generation past that, but then they're not going to remember you. It doesn't matter who you are. Now, if you're Abraham Lincoln, maybe your family might, but so my point is this: the real generational impact you can have is leading your family to Christ, because when that happens, and you train your kids up how to maintain that, and then they train their kids up how to maintain that, then 5 generations, they might not remember your name, but they are still experiencing the impact that you had.
They got the path.
And now you can also do that through wealth, right? I mean, there's old money for a reason, and money is passed down from generations and so on, which I think is also biblical. I think that God calls us to do that. You know, he said you need to build this wealth for future
Be a good
generations.
steward.
Well, and then when
Right.
you lead them like that, you'll get to see them in heaven. You know.
And then, yeah, right. So
the
like
goal.
they're your bloodline, and if they meet you in heaven, then maybe there'll be some correlation there, and they'll say, hey, you know, thank you for that. But I think back to like, you know, my family. It's like, I don't think any of my I don't want to say this inaccurately. I don't know if any of my great grandparents were saved, or even they might have been believers. I take that back. I had a great grandfather who served in World War II, who was a preacher before he went to World War II and came back and was all messed up, I think. But outside of him, I don't know of anyone that were actually believers and followed Christ, right?
Yeah.
But my grandparents did. All of them followed Christ, right? And on my mom's side, like my mom followed Christ, and because of her, I follow Christ, right? And so it's like this, and that's going to, go into, I keep smacking this.
It's like generational faith.
That's going to go into my kid, right? And so to me, that's the real impact. That's what builds the kingdom, because our lives are vapors, dude.
So really the big thing is not generational legacy, it's generational faith. You want to pass that down.
I think that faith is a legacy.
Yeah.
You know, I think they're
that's the
kind of the
goal.
same.
Yeah.
For me, anyway.
There's spiritual
I mean,
ties that
for me,
come
it's that
from
way.
Because you can have the opposite also. There's like generational curses are a real thing.
Yeah.
And like the chains of bondage that, your great grandparents were in, that can be passed down generationally. Wow.
Generation.
That's a lot of yeah. But no, I get what you're saying. I think that's true. I mean, it's everything is
Like
predicated
alcoholism,
on.
that's been proven to it can be hereditary.
You know who
It
Ed
definitely is.
Y'all know who Ed Milet is?
Yes.
Millet.
Yep.
It's Ed Millet.
Here they
here
go
we go.
again.
It's literally Ed Milet.
Hummingbird and a butterfly. What'd y'all say?
I'm gonna
That's these M names, Ronnie.
Here they go.
stone cold stoner Tim one day.
You can rock bottom
Rock
me.
bottom
Rock bottom
You can give me the rock bottom.
Boy.
on this table.
through the table.
Anyway, Ed Milet talks about this where it's like in every bloodline, or if you see a family that's wealthy or like doing well or has great faith and everything, there was someone in their bloodline who was like, it stops with me.
Yeah.
All of the generational curses, all of the things that are passed on through blood end with me. And so that goes for each individual here or anyone listening. You have the opportunity to just say, it ends with me. I'm changing the future.
I don't think you can break that curse without God, though.
I don't think so either.
I think it's.
But if I look back at my bloodline, like, not that they're like bad people, but I think that there is especially on my mom's side, because of her and because of my grandfather and also my grandfather and grandmother on my dad's side, that kind of led me to faith. But you're right. To that point, if they had no faith, like we're talking about hard, they had hard lives. They were all blue collar workers.
Yeah.
And they had no faith up to those people. And so it's like, I don't know why I'm doing this, guys. I'm sorry. But you're
Just
right.
stop.
Without God, there was no chance. Because they didn't come from, there was no wealth in that bloodline.
Yeah.
The only chance was like maybe somebody pops out and makes a bunch of money.
It's crazy how
But
big of
without God,
like
there's no
the
chance.
contrast there is from the lives that we live and our grandparents and our great
weird,
grandparents
isn't it?
lived. Like
Yeah,
we're
it is.
completely like I know we're bloodline and we're all related, but it's like
I can't even imagine
We're
what the
also
world was like when
two-
my great grandparents were
two
around.
completely different humans.
Yeah.
Right.
Way different.
Like
Right.
my grandparents moved
but
from
also similar.
Eastern Kentucky to Chicago to
similar.
get work.
But also
and-
very
Dude,
weird.
so this is just pulling me back to part of the conversation we had on our last group episode like this, how we were talking about how we're trying to connect with the young people in the church.
Yeah.
Okay, and so we're our parents' generation, right? It was just so different that they couldn't think. The train of thoughts weren't the same. You know what I mean? They had so much else going on
Yeah.
that they didn't have the ability to.
Connect.
And they didn't have the information that we have now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a really opportunity.
Yeah, they were just doing the best they could with what they knew.
Yeah.
Surviving.
I mean, they were throwing
spirit
babies
of
in the
thought
front seat
was
of
different.
Oldsmobiles and riding around. Like they
Right,
just,
right.
it just
Yeah,
Bring it back.
make them tough again. Yeah.
for real.
Could you
It was
imagine
awesome.
the world if we never had like vehicles?
That's a good.
Yeah, we'd still be on horses. Be sick.
You know
What
what,
about
man?
just tech in
I
general?
hope we go back.
No, you don't.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
No, you don't.
I like a good horse, man.
No, you don't.
I love
Hey,
a good
brother.
horse.
I'm apparently
No,
terrified of
you don't.
horses.
Every story
Listen,
I've
man,
heard
let
of
me
you
romanticize about this.
You have
for
to
a
give
minute.
up at Dodge again. Somebody's
true. I
gonna
ain't doing
die.
that.
Yeah, but your truck isn't your friend. A horse is your friend.
he was lost without that Ram.
Nah, dude, the Lexus got me through.
Well, you weren't the same guy though.
I rode in that car.
I did feel a little depressed.
We saw it.
At
We
Lexus,
saw it in you.
My ego is not attached to that truck, just to be clear.
it would have taken that hit from the roadkill a little
It would have
differently.
smashed. Man, that was a sad story.
Short man,
Yeah.
big truck.
It
short
would have
man, big
definitely
truck.
killed that dog, though. And I wouldn't have taken a dented bumper like I did in the Lexus. The dog, I think, lived in the Lexus, though. So it's like kind of catch-22.
Do you think
You
that
got
is
out
that
and
just
tried
what
to
you're
help
telling
dog
yourself?
lives?
Do you just tell yourself that to make your?
Do I need to tell this story so that people don't think I just...
No, I don't think we need
killed
to
a
reopen
dog?
I
it.
mean, you
We
did get
just
out to try to.
Yeah,
You're
dude.
talking
check
about when
on
you
the
drove through a
dog.
dog park on purpose?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot. Yeah.
Took those dogs out.
So let me just tell the story real quick. I'm driving up here one night to work late because that's what I have to do sometimes. I had 2 proposals due the next day. Was trying to build them out. I'm on my way here. We were having flooding. This was, 2 weeks ago? So we get like 12 inches of rain that night. I'm driving up here, and Watterson Trail in Louisville is like a kind of a narrow 1-lane road going either direction, and there's like a stretch of it where it's woods on either side. Coming down, I have a car coming my direction, and all I see is 2 dogs run in front of that car. I couldn't swerve left because then I was just going to head on that car. So I just had to like
Or
hope.
if you go right,
If I go right, I'm going into somebody's,
into
or the woods. So I'm like, all right, well, here we go. I thought I was going to hit them both. The dog, he was on my right, so he coming left at me. He jumps off somehow. I don't know how I didn't hit him. The other dog, dead center impact right in his face. And I was going like 40. So I stop. Car behind me saw it. I guess he stops. But I'm trying to get out of the car on this little small road. It's raining. It's nighttime. The dog is squealing, super sad. I'm feeling really bad for him.
Don't like this story
And
anymore.
I'm going to go put this dog out of his misery. So, we all know what that looks like. But I get out, and then all the cars start whipping around the car behind me that stopped. And they're like, they're like 6 inches from me, flying. And I'm like, oh, I can't do this. Well, then the dog gets up and starts kind of wobbling off. And I didn't see any blood or anything.
He ate it.
So I think he just ate that hit, dude, and it kind of stunned him for a minute.
Yeah, well,
And
sometimes
he was
you
a big dog, thankfully. He wasn't like, if he was a little dog, he'd have been done. He was pretty big. I mean, I've seen a dog that got shot in the head with a 9mm and lived. So, there's a chance that he's fine.
It's like that bear in Alaska that got hit by 2 trains. Lived on.
Oh, yeah, he has a name too, doesn't he?
I think he's called the Tank or something like that.
Trains probably got
Worse he's
than him.
fathered like
Yeah,
75% of the bears in that area or
Sickest bear in the
something
world,
crazy.
Wow.
Seriously.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
he's
cool.
the
That's
Genghis
wild.
Khan of
Dude, that bear
bears.
is
Yeah.
living life.
Yeah.
But
2
anyway, man,
trains.
I was sad about
2
that for a few
trains.
days. Dude. It messed me up because I'm a dog lover, But I was also thinking if I had the truck that night, the truck's it's lifted with 35s.
Bless me.
That dog ain't hitting the bumper.
Nah.
It's hitting the tire, and it's over. So
Anyways.
maybe that was just God,
Next story. Don't like hearing
bro,
about dogs.
being soft is all
Hey,
right.
side note.
Sorry, I don't like dogs dying.
Do all dogs go to heaven, Dakota?
Side
Yes.
note, Justin
It was a
Thomas
movie.
just won his first tournament in over 1,000 days. Fellow Louisville.
Nobody knows who that is.
Louisville man.
You don't know who Justin Thomas is?
I mean, I know who it is, but nobody cares.
Anybody from
What'd he
Louisville
win?
knows who he is.
What'd he win?
The
RBC
RBC Heritage.
Oh, well, that's actually pretty good.
big
one.
on a
That's actually a pretty good one.
birdie putt.
What did he do at the Masters though?
He played decent.
I mean, he
the first few
made
games.
the cut, but
I was gonna
What
say
did he
I don't
finish?
remember seeing him there.
I don't know.
Uh,
Oh, he was down. He was
top
on down
25 or something.
RBC Heritage is no joke though. He's winning that. He might be on a little bit of a comeback.
It was
What
big.
if Rory and JT come back and have killer years?
Scotty's got to get him one.
It's been a crazy year so far.
Scotty had a pretty. I mean, he did great last year.
I don't think Scotty's won a tournament yet this year.
He hasn't.
Scotty.
He's got it in him though. He was dialed
Don't matter.
for a minute.
He'll
at
do
the
this and then go
Masters.
win 2 majors.
He could.
I
Could
think
he?
Bryson gets him one.
I think Bryson does.
Bryson's definitely gonna get him one.
I think
dude.
Rory's going to win another one
I
after
think he
getting
just-
that monkey off of his back.
I think he got tired at the Masters. I think Bryson went a little too hard.
No, Bryson
Monkey on his
abandoned
back.
his game plan. He's made his game on being a long range golfer, and he just didn't do that.
Tried to finesse it.
Yeah,
Yeah, can't do that, Bryson.
Sure.
he's a
Like I
long
know
range
what I'm talking
golfer.
about. I
and
can barely
on.
drive it 230
Come on,
yards.
Bryson.
I do think
My
Rory
game's
could get
based
another
on
one though. Rory's
120
playing. Rory's playing insane golf right
He's
now.
got all that stress and that weight on his
He
shoulders.
got his wife back.
Got his
He got
wife
his
back,
family
fixed
back.
his life, focused on the right
He's,
things.
he's
dude.
living right now.
That's how it goes, though. You know what I mean? When you can come into something clear-headed and focused, rather than trying to do it all. You know what I mean?
It goes back to
You
that
could
momentum.
really- yeah,
Build
goes
up
back
that momentum and you keep going
to the
with it.
actual impact, to actually having the
Well,
impact.
interesting. You're talking about like trying to do a bunch of stuff quickly and like focus on it. Another one I wrote down is I need to stop breathing quickly so I can breathe in deep. And that spoke to me a lot because I feel like I'm a little
Yeah.
ADHD and trying to. And I was thinking about that, and breath work is super important too. But like breathing deep instead of quickly.
Did everyone else
Think
just take a big deep breath like I
I
did?
literally just
Quality
did.
of
it.
life.
I've been
Quantity.
taking tiny breaths this whole time.
I did. Took a nice big deep breath.
I think that's important though. I think
Quality over quantity type thing.
yeah. Well, I think we do that a lot, dude.
Well, that
We're
goes-
scrambling all
That
the
goes
time.
back to not rushing all over the place.
I just try to stay breathing good. You know what I'm saying?
Big breather over there.
I just breathe.
He's a
good.
really big breather.
Look at
Big
these
floater
nostrils.
too.
Real breather.
I don't know if y'all can see it in the
No,
camera.
he said I float good.
Yeah.
He said, "I float real good."
real good. I breathe good, man. Everything. Life's just good. God is good. Life is good, man. I'm good.
Please stop talking like that.
Thank you.
I kind of liked it.
Yeah, he had Riot locked in.
Yeah. I've never paid so much
He was
attention to you in
getting
my life.
serenaded. He was getting
We
serenaded.
did say
back to
Tim
his
was your
feet.
favorite earlier. so.
Yes.
Man, when you said that, there's something that's
Thank you.
it's trying to
Like there's something that broke my heart. When
Yeah,
you
I
said
think
that.
no, there was
each and every one
there
of
was a
us.
story I heard. It's talking about that, talking about slowing down, and I don't know
It was
why.
it was at FCA whenever she used
Was
the
it?
water bottle and
Oh
she shook
yeah,
the water bottle.
yeah. See, look at you. I knew there was something recently.
Mm-hmm.
So there was an analogy. It was I don't know her name.
Tammy.
Tammy.
What's Chris? What's his last name? Morgan. Tammy Morgan.
Tammy Morgan. So
Tammy
Chris Morgan
Morgan.
runs the Louisville FCA. His wife Tammy is like his partner. She does the cheerleaders and the
All the-
softball
all the
teams,
female
all the
athletes.
female athletics sides. So anyway, they go to this thing out in Arizona, and she didn't want to go because it's like quiet in the desert was the theme. Like they're going out to the desert to like connect with God.
She thought it was dessert,
She thought it said dessert on their calendar.
and it was desert.
But it said desert, which was kind of funny. But anyway, they go out there, and the guy starting the thing, he's got a mason jar full of water with sediment in the bottom. And he's essentially saying, we live our lives like this, and he shook the mason jar up, and it got all crazy. And it's going to take a couple hours for it to settle back down. Well, when it settled down, it was just clear water, and you could focus and see right through the glass. And he was essentially using that analogy to say, if you want to have an impact, you want to see clearly, you got to get quiet and cut the chaos out of your life. And gosh, dude, I'm going hard on smacking.
I feel like that's so
thing.
much easier said than done, though.
Well, that's why I
Right.
think you have to be intentional with
Well,
it.
the culture isn't set up.
It's not
for that.
easy.
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
It's-
no. In our
Our
world we
culture
live
is
in,
go, 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 worker bee.
yeah.
You shouldn't have any like time.
You
of
ain't
rest.
grinding if you ain't working
Which,
90
that
hours
goes
a
back
week.
to like the Sabbath in the Bible and stuff like that. Like it was important. We try to do that with my family too, where it's not constantly going, or not have the kids signed up for everything under
Yeah.
the sun, to where we don't have time,
Family
to just
time.
be peaceful.
That's
Oh,
why
yeah,
we're not
relax
doing travel ball,
and,
dude.
and to rest. I've heard travel ball's a nightmare.
But that's like,
dude.
we have, there's pressure there as a parent though, because you get these other parents that do travel ball and they want, they want you to do that too. And then it's like, you have the pressure of saying no. But I think we know there's power in saying no. But that's one of those instances where it's like, it's already chaos enough to be playing in a rec league and playing for school, much less travel ball. And so that's one of those hard lines for Laura and I that we've talked about. It's like, we're not doing that to our family.
Well, your
That's
son's
good.
already playing, 25 games?
Yeah, they got like 24 games. You throw in travel ball in the mix, it's going to get wild.
Your
They're
whole-
not pro athletes,
Your whole
dude. They're
summer's
8.
your whole summer's gone. At
There's
that
8.
point.
And then what are you doing to your kids also as they grow up? Then they think that then they're going to perpetuate that and continue.
Yeah,
to
they
just
think that their
fill
value
all
is in
space.
that sport. No, look, man, I'm not saying I don't want them to go on and be great athletes, because I do, and I'm proud of them when they do. But it's like, as parents, it's our responsibility to know when you have to pull that lever and say, nope, that's too far.
What's worth
We're
what?
losing our clarity. We're not able to focus, and we're not able to really love on each other because we're just so busy all the time.
Yeah.
And I think American culture is the worst for that right now.
Yeah, I read some statistic about like family dinners just at home is like way down.
Yeah.
Just because of how busy everybody
I
is.
didn't grow up having family dinners. So, like, that's the thing that I've had to adjust in my marriage, too, is because, like, me, Sage, and Hannah will eat dinner together, and I'll eat fast, and I'll be done, and I used to get up and just be done, start doing the
Yeah.
dishes or start cleaning up, and she's like, can you just sit down and, like, enjoy dinner? And I'm like, I'm not used to this, so no, I'm sorry, I'm better at it now, but that's something I had to kind of learn. I didn't really have, like, family.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Same,
something that's
yeah.
like passed on to your kids, and if you weren't raised
Well,
that way,
Hannah's like,
that's-
I've done it with her parents are together, been together for 30 years, 2 brothers, so a big family. They've done family dinner every night. And I'm like, that's not a tradition that I ever grew up with. So it's kind of hard for me to realize like how important it is to you. And something I do want to do with my family is do that together. But I just never understood, like, it doesn't like break my heart knowing I didn't do it growing up, but I just never really understood the value of it.
I love
Yeah.
a good family dinner.
Yeah, see, I never did it either. I mean, the only time we ever had family dinner was when we were out at, like for Easter or Christmas or Thanksgiving or something, And so I'm with you, because when we do that as a family now, we try to most nights. Baseball season, sports season makes it a little difficult, but outside of that, 10 months out of the year, that's what we do. We try to have dinner every night together. And one of my struggles is, so we're always on the go. We're always busy. There's always something to do. One of my struggles is keeping my phone in my pocket. And I'll even, I can pull it out and then I'll sit it on the table. And I'm not on the phone, but it's there. And it's like this weird, I heard a pastor talk about that before. He's like, even if you're not on it, you're still telling your family and your kids that thing is more important. And if it goes off, you're going to look at it or take it. And so I think having family dinner is an opportunity now. And I struggle with you because it's like, this isn't really that important.
Yeah.
It wasn't for me.
Yeah.
It's not going to be for them, but it is.
Right,
I think
I
some of the
agree.
most intimate moments you'll have with your family is over food, because everything, it's relaxed. The barriers are broken
Everything
down.
slows down.
Now it's a
It's just
highlight
you
of my
guys.
day. I never realized how much I would enjoy it.
Yeah,
too.
it does take work though. It does
Yeah.
take work to be able to sit down and be chill with your family.
No
there.
distractions.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, you just made me feel super convicted, like in a good way, about like just being on my phone.
Yeah, it's
like
tough.
During family dinners
still do
and
it.
stuff. It's it's.
Well, when you run a
especially
business,
with how
it
my
is
brain
hard.
is too. Like, well, that, and even not even if
Yeah.
it's business stuff, but just I'm
Just
constantly
mindlessly scrolling.
consuming and reading, like just reading articles on Reddit and stuff like that, just to, and then maybe because of stress or something like that, I like to have kind of that distraction. But then,
Occupy
like,
your
like you
time.
said, that's me saying that's why can't my family at dinner
Do that for
be
you.
my distraction?
Have your
Yeah.
time. Yeah, have your
Yikes.
time. I think something like I've told myself I'm going to do this before, and I haven't done it yet. Maybe I'll take the next week and challenge myself for it. But during dinner time, wow, It's baseball season, so we ain't having dinner this week. We were out till 10 last night. But when we get back to this normal routine that we're usually in, I think what I'm going to try to start doing is taking my phone and putting it on airplane mode and putting it on the other side of the room for dinner time. And just having that time of just like, this is our time as a family. And I get to spend a lot of time with my kids, but it's different when you break bread with each other, man. You know, it's just, there's something about breaking bread with other people. It's
special.
That's how you really, I think that there's a lot of connection in that. And if you can't do that with your own family, then what are you doing? You know, so.
I heard a great bit of advice regarding your phone and your children specifically, but and since you're not able to have like family dinner right now, maybe this is like a little bit of a smaller action you could maybe do. I feel like it's helped me connect with my kids a little bit better, for real. So when they come up to you, say you're on your phone texting or responding to a client or whatever, and you know, obviously you've had this happen. Your kids run up to you and start wanting to tell you something or ask you a question while you're in the middle of some business action on your phone.
Yeah, all the time.
Stop, put your phone in your pocket for a second, get down on their level where you're eye to eye, look them in the eyes, and tell them,
say, don't ever talk to me when I'm on my phone.
you better get out of here. Who do you think you are?
Sorry.
You level with them so you don't look like some crazy giant.
You ain't got that worry, buddy. Oh, sorry.
I do
Glad
for
it wasn't
now.
me.
I do for now. I do for now.
Enjoy it while you
All
can.
He had to
they're
kneel
little.
down.
Sorry, I know we're having a serious
We're
moment
getting
here.
off the track here, man.
Yeah.
You get on their level and you just say something along the lines of, I really want to talk about that with you. I'm going to need just a minute to take care of something on my phone real quick, and then we'll get right back to this.
I like that. I also
It
think,
takes 5
I think, you know
seconds.
what?
Whatever you're doing can always wait 5 seconds. There's nothing that's that much of an emergency.
I like that. Let's do a little switch up here
All right.
because I really like that vibe. I think one other thing you can do is put your phone in your pocket because it's really not that important, and you can say, "Hey, I have something going on. I have 1 minute. Whatever you need, let's talk about it right now.
Yeah.
I have a minute. After that minute, I am going to have to get back to my phone and handle that. But then you're shifting the prioritization.
I
at that
think
point.
I
They
think I
become
like
the
his. I
priority.
think I like his version of it too.
Oh, I'm just throwing out variables, dude.
Well, yeah.
Right,
the
I'm just
saying,
important thing
when
is,
you rush a kid though like that, I feel like it could kind of be more like
I can see that.
like you only got
Yeah,
a minute.
okay.
Get it out. What all do you need?
Yeah.
Like instead of like you have 1 minute where it's like, well, no, like you're my dad. We can just talk forever. You know what I'm saying?
Or it can be different depending on the type of thing you're doing.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
if I'm finishing up payroll, you know, and I need to like, click submit because
Yeah.
it has to be done by 4 p.m. That's
Situational
where you can tell your
dependent.
kid, like, you know, hey, give me just
Give me a second.
Yeah.
Let me do this.
but
I like that though.
the
too.
important factor is get on their level, make eye contact with them, with nothing sitting over here, not the glow of a phone screen hovering in the background in your
Yep.
peripheral.
It's a healthy
Put
way
it
to be
away for 1
dismissive.
second, make eye contact and directly respond to them.
I mean, I'm super guilty of that, and I even feel bad when I do it too, because like they'll come up and they'll say, "Dad," and it's like nothing, like they don't need anything serious, but I'm just like, yeah, okay, all right, give me a second, okay, and then I'm just like on my phone.
Yeah, everybody does that.
I know, but it's just
Everybody's
like if I would
kids
just
say, watch this, and they proceed to do like the
Yeah,
dumbest thing
they
ever.
do some. Yeah, they fall. They try to do something and they just fall down and start
like a
crying. And it's
spin.
like, oh,
Cool
great.
spin.
360.
thank you for doing that. I
Thanks,
appreciate
kid.
it. But it doesn't matter. They don't care. They just want you to see them. They
just
want to
want
be
you to watch.
seen, and
Yeah.
that's a. Our parents didn't have that. Like they didn't have that distraction. And
Yeah.
I think one of the most addicting things in the world right now is in our pockets. And I think this is a struggle that our generation will be one of the first generations that's ever had to struggle with. And if we allow it, it will impact our kids. They'll feel like, yeah, we were always there, and we lie to ourselves. Like, yeah, I was always there for them. I was a good dad. But it's like we never really gave them our full attention. Or we haven't. And I'm super guilty of that.
I've seen some things out there that help supplement that. Like they make those like light phones now where it just has like super basic. It's basically just like a phone.
Yeah, it's a dumb phone. Like a dumb
Or
phone.
I've seen this company called Brick where they have like this little tag thing where it just NFC scans your phone when you
Shuts
do
it
it and
down.
it locks it.
Yeah.
And you can't unlock it until you tag that thing again. So if you're intentional and say I'm having this thing in the car when I get home, tag it.
Isn't it crazy
But
how
see,
there
I
has
think
to
we
be
have to
things
have
like
that.
that? Isn't it crazy there has to be things like that to get us to
Yeah,
disconnect
yeah.
on the
Dude, those
phone?
things are things are created to keep you on them.
Right.
You're dumping you're dumping serotonin.
But isn't
on
it
those
crazy
things.
how there's things that have to be created that
Right.
distract you
Yeah,
from
so
that
on the,
distraction?
on the flip
Strong.
side, I would like to think that we could have the mental fortitude.
Right.
But
You're
obviously I just
literally
talked about
having to
I
have,
can't.
you're
Yeah.
having to create a separate distraction from the main distraction.
Yeah, yeah.
The other thing is too.
There has
It's
to
like,
be a program that will just keep
I wish-
you from
I wish I could
making
see
it
this-
impossible for you to get on there.
I wish there could. I wish I could see the study of the attention span of humans with the evolution of tech,
oh, it's gone down.
and
A lot,
seeing
I think.
how big of a drastic drop it is, especially when smartphones were introduced and stuff like that. Like I bet when computers and all electronics started to evolve, humans' intelligence and attention spans and quality of life just started to plummet. Now I know that to evolve in life, we need technology, especially in medicine and et cetera, stuff like that. But there's a penalty for everything that we're doing here.
Well, I read something the other
like
day
that.
that
There's
says
a cost
There
for
is.
everything.
Yes.
You got to pay the piper.
the
Nothing's free.
average human has like 60,000 thoughts a day. So think about how scattered your brain is.
I probably
if
have
you're
like
having-
61,000.
Yeah, yeah.
You look
At
like
least.
you
I might have like,
Faster
I
like
might have like
John.
60.
69,000.
Nice.
You might have 60. I don't know. You'd just be surprised if you think about it.
I do
Like,
actually have some
you
ADHD,
get
but I just think it's interesting how distracting smartphones are, but how like vital they are too. Like
Yeah. Well,
the world would be lost if they just took away smartphones.
people would probably die.
yes,
for real.
people
for real.
would be lost.
People might actually die.
Yeah, what do you do if Apple Maps is taken away?
I'm serious. Think about that. Think if you take away all computers and smartphones right now, you think everybody would just be fine and figure it out and survive? I think
Oh,
people would
okay.
actually die.
Like, on their own accord.
Yeah, they're just dumb.
I remember back in the day-
we are so reliant on this
go crazy.
technology. We are so reliant on this technology that I think some people might not be able
Yeah.
to survive. For
Interesting.
real.
It's just like Paradise.
But you know who can
the
survive?
TV show?
You know who can survive?
The TV show?
A country boy.
The
That's
TV
right.
show Paradise
Come
on
on now.
Hulu? It's just
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, it is.
I don't. Okay, spoiler alert. But at the end,
If you ain't watched it by
No,
now,
don't say
you're
spoiler at
lame.
the end.
Tell them.
You're going to spoil the end?
well,
tell 'em.
there's a.
Have
There's
you
a,
not seen it?
Tell us the end.
Oh, don't ruin it for Riot.
Oh, well.
Ruin
like
it.
him too much.
How old is it?
Let's just say there's a.
It's not. It's like a month old.
It's like
all
it's
right.
like 3 or
It's
4
not
months
like
old.
it's like six. It's not like spoiling Breaking Bad.
All right, I won't spoil it. But at the end of that
Walking
makes you
Dead.
think like, oh, that's an interesting thing. It's just I just can't remember. Okay, I can't talk about it.
Never
So I'll
mind.
tell you this. I was
Never
watching.
mind. Just forget all that.
Great show.
Rogan had somebody.
gotta watch
on,
it. Great
and they
show.
were talking about John F. Kennedy. They were showing a speech of John F. Kennedy calling like American youth fat. And you ever heard these old presidents, like the way they speak, the way like they're super, not just professional, but like relatable, but also like very charismatic, and they just sound intelligent. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, this guy knows what's going on. I can trust this guy. He's a real leader, right? And then you listen to the politicians we have today, and it's just like, where did we go wrong as a society, man? Like, we have more technology, more access to information than ever, and we're dumber. We're way dumber than the generations before us.
It's conflict.
Because people
But I
believe
think
everything
it's-
they're reading,
and it's
it could be a wrong.
It's over information.
Yeah.
I
Or
think there's a
wrong
such
information.
thing.
You're consuming content 24/7.
Constantly, and we have so much information that we're on the other side of the scale.
The
now.
more you
know?
consume, the more you question.
Yeah, I think the only alternative is to be a producer. I think that's why I like this podcast so much. Look, we're not getting 1,000 downloads an episode.
We're
yet.
not.
I know. Sorry, you'd be okay.
It's 10,000.
But here's the thing. It gives us an opportunity not just to talk about how we feel, but to create. We're creating value for people here. And I think there's something about that. I think humans, that's why podcasting is so popular, I think, right now, because it's a really easy outlet for people to go and create. And I think that is missing a lot. Like, a lot of people don't create anymore. They just consume.
And it's a tricky
there's
thing
so much
is,
to consume.
is we're creating something that obviously, unless all the computers go down and there's no copies of this anymore.
Yeah, it's true.
Our great grandkids could be watching this and getting to know their great grandfather.
That is true. Didn't think about that.
Legacy.
Look at you leaving that legacy.
That is
Hey.
pretty cool.
Who knew?
Good job,
That's
Dakota.
my grandpa.
They're gonna find it
That's
buried.
Grandpa Happy Coda over there.
They're gonna find it buried 40 feet underground one day.
The irony,
some-
the
thinking
irony
some-
in us
40
saying,
feet.
Yeah, bro.
the irony in
Why?
us saying we consume too much content
How
as
deep
we
were the
film
Dead Sea
content.
Scrolls?
is
Bury
pretty
me in the
funny.
Earth's core.
But I do think
Not
podcasts.
him, the recordings, man.
Oh,
I think-
okay. I was like, why would
We're
they
burying
ever-
him way down.
I was about to say that.
We're hiding him.
I just think it's
Golly.
funny the irony in us creating content as we're saying people consume too much content. But I think there is a healthy thing of podcasts and stuff where it's human interaction.
Yeah,
like
no,
it's
for sure.
open conversation
Yeah.
between humans and stuff. It's
That's
not
why
like
podcasting
It's
is-
not like
is
we're
popular.
debating,
Well, you
and we
gotta
don't.
discern
We're,
the
not,
content
we're
you're
also not
consuming.
like
Yeah.
just arguing with each other back and forth.
to?
Where it's like,
Yes,
yeah,
we are.
can. Well, exactly. It's not like you're right, I'm wrong, and stuff like that. Like it's just an open book.
No, yeah, no, I agree. I think that there is value in consuming content, but I think it's discerning your content. You know what I'm saying?
Well, see, what I was thinking is that there's actually some value in consuming content. We just have to discern it.
Yeah, dude, come on. I think there's not value in consuming content. You just have to.
All right, I'm getting up.
It.
I'm out of here.
You're an idiot. You're both idiots.
No, you're an
There's
idiot.
no value in any of it.
Coda's all serious over here making his point, and Tim goes, "You want to wrestle?" He just really
He didn't
threw
ask me if he wanted to
I
laugh.
can't take him
I'm
serious
sorry.
with these shades on anyway.
Really
point-
threw me off.
What was your point?
Tim thinks
I don't
he's real
remember
cool
now.
with them blue shades on.
I was
Look
kind
at
of,
him.
when
I am
Tim was
cool,
talking
dude.
about
Look at
getting
me.
down eye level with his kids, I was kind of imagining him exactly like that.
With those
Sunglasses
glasses on?
hood
Yeah.
on.
Look at me.
Yeah.
Look at me, son.
Look at me in my eyes, boy.
I need you to take me serious.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I don't. Any other interesting topics you guys want to bring up? Any conspiracy theories about the Pope or anything else that we maybe missed? Please stop making that noise in my ear. I'd appreciate that. You guys good?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
You were about to say something, dude. Let
You
it
got
go.
something.
Let it go.
Oh, yeah,
Get
say
out.
it. No, go ahead, man. That's what, just say it.
It's
That's
going to be
what
like
we're
when
here
class is almost over and
The teacher's like,
You
anybody got
forgot to
anything
collect the
else?
homework.
Dakota's like,
You forgot to collect the
The one
homework.
kid that puts his hand up at the end when you're ready to leave.
beat him up, beat him up.
Guys, thank you so much for
tried.
coming on and watching this episode. We appreciate it. I hope you guys had fun listening to this. This is just conversations that we have in here. We're not, nothing is scripted. I really don't ever want to go off a script. I think it's boring. So I hope that you guys like the Pope conspiracy theory. Go look it up for yourself. We appreciate you guys. If you like the show, share the show. Give us a 5-star rating. We would greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching it. We will be back. We have some one-on-one interviews coming up soon. I think you guys are really going to like those guests. Man, I'm doing a pretty good job of holding it together while
I'm
I'm my shoulder.
amazed.
Ain't I? Yeah.
I'm amazed.
Yeah, it's worked out
I
great.
thought about going up to his head and doing my guy too. While he's talking.
My neck is super ticklish. I would have definitely laughed.
Don't tell Dakota that.
I know.
He'll get you.
Guys, thank you so much.
He'll
We will
tickle
see
you all over
you
town.
on the next episode.
See ya.
Later.